Easy, easy, very easy. Ho, how we doing, chaps?
Yeah, I'm still riding high on the crest of that wave.
Peter, an England victory.
A victory for Garcia with an on-call.
Oh, I see.
A victory for everyone. A victory for everyone who said, we need Harry Kane on that field.
But he was on the field. He was causing a nuisance, wasn't he?
Yes.
Just with his very presence.
Indeed. Let's get straight to it then. England 2, Andorra 0. I presume, Vish, that Andorra aren't the leaky side they used to be. The last time they lost by 5 goals was 4 years ago to England. Since then, they've conceded an average of just over 2 goals per qualifier, and they've only conceded 4 twice in that time. A 2-0 victory is not to be sniffed at.
I feel like there's an answer you're looking for here. You might as well give it yourself.
I think you're leading the people who are deciding this.
Yeah.
All of our Scottish listeners right now going, are you fucking kidding me? Has it come to this for them? Are they really claiming this?
Only the people who have never listened to us before, Jim.
Yeah.
I thought Iker Alvarez in the Andorra goal was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But he
Wasn't
should have
for him.
conceded more than 2 goals.
Yes.
Put it that way. I think it was
Yes.
a very a professional job when actually one with a bit more flair would have done.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay to say.
Love the
Take
fact that-
Jordan out of the goal and just put him up somewhere.
Which we've got 2 Jordans.
Well, exactly, the one in the goal.
Oh, I see.
The goalkeeper.
You did clarify, and I should have known. A professional job is a description I haven't heard in the press, but I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, bearing in mind, Serbia
I don't
away.
use that as a compliment, though.
Right. No, professional job is normally a compliment.
I know it normally is. What I'm saying is like England.
We'll call it an unprofessional job then.
Well, no, it wasn't
semi-professional job.
It was professional in that they had to win the game. They won it by 2 goals, and then you factor in the opposition. It's almost you strip away the context, and it's a professional job. And it needn't have been because there's other things that England should be building towards that I felt they didn't build towards.
Were you disappointed in your man Eberechi Eze?
I was ultimately kind of veering between disappointed for the whole and then actually looking at it pragmatically and realizing that actually what I wanted from the game was never going to be the case considering the front 6 of only 2 of them in Declan Rice and Harry Kane are guaranteed their places, which means the other 4 are unlikely to do anything out of step, which is what you want, really, like add a bit of their own personal flair.
Madueke seems to be up for...
But that's just how he plays. But there was always an element of him that he was probably the most expressive of the other 4 players who aren't guaranteed their spot.
He likes playing against Andorra.
He does, yeah. And if we do more of that, then fair play to us.
And to him as well.
Yeah.
After the game, Thomas Tuchel said, I'm absolutely convinced that we're on the right path. Jim, watching that game, do we take anything from this?
Realistically, I think you don't, right? Because we say it every tournament, don't we? The qualifying campaigns, and be that the form, often the results and the performances against teams like this, they're essentially just irrelevant, aren't they? Really. I think, we're not going to come up against a team like Andorra. Possibly we will come up against tactics like that. And essentially, England got on with the job of breaking that down, right? And just kind of essentially like just attacking the cracks in their rear guard throughout the whole game. So I think there's only so much you can learn from it. If England had won that game 5-0, if maybe Eze and Anderson put their chances away and it's 4-0, for example, we're not going, we're really on the right track now, aren't we? We're going to sort of tear some teams apart. I think the reaction's pretty much exactly the same. Again, if it's 1-0 from an own goal, you're thinking, oh, blimey, we might have some problems scoring. But this is about as kind of... about as banal as a result that you can get.
But then you look at like Belgium, Spain, even like Greece. They're knocking them in. They're knocking goals in for fun. Portugal, and we're sort of putting up with this. It's all a bit of a shame, really. I know the brief informs the performance, and the brief that Thomas Tuchel isn't about this massive revolution. Isn't about however many times he said it in the pre kind of qualifying presses that he needs to change the way that England play. Just simply because it's a one tournament contract, and the whole job is winning football matches, isn't it? I suppose. So, would I have wanted to see more of a plan B without, maybe a team playing without Harry Kane? Because chances are we might be without him at certain times during a tournament, and have no idea how we're supposed to play without him. Yes, I would have liked to have seen that, but that's clearly not the brief from the FA, and it's clearly not Thomas Tuchel's job.
Did you like seeing former Newcastle United man Elliot Anderson?
It was good. I mean, he played a lot deeper and stuff. I think I said before he has the sort of tendency to be a bit, just absolute Captain Marvel, just running around everywhere he possibly can run. But I think he played very, very well indeed. He probably should have scored. But yeah,
that was a great save from the keeper.
It was very, very well.
Anderson probably should have done. But you should have scored, really. I was slightly behind it. But as Vish said, the keeper did make some good saves.
He's better further up the field now. I would have liked to have seen him there rather than where he was.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were talking about this, Luke and I, on the Ramble England pod last week, that Elliot Anderson can play in that deep line role in the midfield, as can Declan Rice. And often Rice does it for England, has done. But what you've seen Declan Rice do, particularly last season for Arsenal, I know he's been doing it for a little while for Arsenal. I just think, as we say now, as a 6, he's very, very good as an 8. He's one of the best in the world, I think. So therefore, I would want him playing in that 8, Jim. So that if that means curbing Elliot's enthusiasm, or I mean, Adam Wharton was the one really, but Elliot, I mean, obviously it's only Andorra, but you've got to go on these little snippets and these little sort of trials, if you like. He took to it.
He did, and what Rice has been doing in the Arsenal midfield from the early stages of the season has been that him and Martin Zubimendi have been dovetailing a bit and swapping over who is kind of dropping deeper and who is going a bit forward.
So when one stays, one goes.
When one stays, one goes, indeed. So, I mean...
Tactics are cyclical, aren't they?
They certainly are at the moment. More on which in a minute. So I think Anderson might be quite well suited to doing a similar thing. Okay. So, yeah, we'll see if one stays and one goes. That's if the ball's in play for long enough.
And we're just going to farm Jude Bellingham out on the left.
On the left, yeah, exactly right.
Which only happened for one tournament, Paul Scholes fans. Don't obscure all of history. Vish, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've spoken about this before, specifically with Declan Rice, but that's part of international football, isn't it? You don't get to arrive and be like, well, I do this and I'm only doing this. I play for a big team. They let me do this. I don't know why you're not, Thomas. Yes. So yeah, I mean, that's part of the give and take. Like, to go back to what I was saying before about what they could have got out of it, I understand that, as I alluded to, like, obviously there are a lot of injuries and this isn't like a starting 11. If England started a tournament with this team, you'd be a bit like, geez, this is there's a lot of injuries here. How has this happened? But we're basically in a situation where they could have, I don't know, he could have given more minutes to Wally Watkins. He could have given more minutes to Jared Bowen. And it's not necessarily that we need to learn anything from them, but what's the harm in pumping their tyres up? None at all.
It wouldn't shock me if he starts Bowen, actually, against Serbia.
Yeah, fair.
Because he's often forgotten about, because I know that's not the chat here.
It might be. We will also, sorry to interrupt there, but
I was interrupting you.
But we will find out about the players he didn't play on the weekend after the Serbia game, because as you say, he might have been saving them for what will be the sternest test of the lot.
Yes.
I do think it's a team in service of Harry Kane, though, sometimes, and his goal records, because I don't think we need to know any more that we already know about Harry Kane. The rest of the side don't have any goals in them, really. Madueke, Rashford's not scoring. Anthony Gordon came on. He doesn't score goals at this point in time. So, like, I think we're actually going to find ourselves in a tournament where we're actually struggling to get the ball in the net. And the only person who can seem to do it is Harry Kane, who is a depleting force. He's still not there yet.
We are going to talk about the striker situation on tomorrow's mailbag. We've got a question about that. But you're right to bring it up, Peter. I think with Kane, I mean, he clearly just wants to score as many goals as possible for England and make sure that, because you haven't got the Premier League all-time record, well, I'll bloody get the England one and give a lot of clear blue water between him and anybody else. But I agree with you. I think in a game like Andorra, you can surely start someone else.
But I'm thinking a qualifier, though. Surely you've got to start your best players.
Yeah.
But not. I think this is... I think we're allowed to talk about this particular game differently, aren't we?
I think so, probably.
We're not, like, speaking out of turn by saying that England could have played another striker there. Do you think we'll get to a point in the back end of this season where, because of what lies ahead, England don't pick him? Harry Kane, that is. Well, let him rest in these international breaks. Given what we saw from him during Euro 2024, where he was off his feet from
there was an injury there that he had.
There was, but he plays
that's
every single game.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Oh, you mean giving him all of the game against Andorra?
Yeah,
when Rice gets...
Bayern aren't going to give him time off.
Yeah. I mean,
but they should. What I'm saying is, like, Thomas Tuchel, if he is really thinking about this, like one composition frame of mind, then as soon as qualification's sewn up, you know what? We don't need you. I know you want these records, and that's great. How does a World Cup sound?
But isn't there an argument as well, though, that however kind of settled and balanced the team might seem like it is to us, if Harry Kane is going to be the guy who plays in the tournaments, the players around him have to get used to it, and those connections need to be fostered.
I think a lot of them are already used to it. I don't think it should change that much.
I mean, there might be an argument there that I think Jim's saying, because if he is, say, right, let's say what's Eza like in a number 10, well, let him at least be on glancing terms with Kane in front of him. I know they do training sessions for this sort of thing, but the match is the match. But also, though, to kind of expand that, though, wouldn't it be nice for Eze to play with Ollie Watkins, say, in front of him for a little bit, or get used to it? I mean, to me, when England go 2-0 up and there's 25 or so minutes left in the game, just take Kane off and bring on.
Yeah,
it'll be Watkins is the guy we're talking about here.
Especially when like Andorra were playing so narrowly, like you could sort of beat men on the outside because there was just so much room out on the wing. So just to have and whip balls in, like they were saying on, I think Roy Keane was very vocal about it. Just get it whipped.
He was.
If you've got Harry Kane there, do it.
Well, as I say, we're going to talk about Kane and the striker situation more on tomorrow's mailbag. But you're saying about those whipped balls in. I mean, Thomas Tuchel said crosses are back. And my goodness, that's where the 2 England goals came from, Jim. Yeah. Are you happy that crosses are back?
I didn't realise they'd gone away.
No.
So I suppose it's happy news.
But
Reece James's cross.
It was a beauty. God. And that's maybe the reason why Trent Alexander-Arnold will be very worried about his place in the England side. But the statistics that show you the amount of crosses per game in the Premier League from the years leading up to, say, peak Guardiola and Man City, and it is quite stark how they've dropped off. And the funny thing is like a lot of these we think older football tactics, the idea of crossing or fizzing it into the big man up top and so on and so forth. Some of the English managers have been saying, like Sam Allardyce has been saying, but what's wrong with getting the ball out wide and whipping across and getting the front man on the head? There's nothing wrong with that tactic. I mean, Sean Dyche, I think, was doing co-coms or something for a channel abroad during the FA Cup final, and he's saying, well, if Man City are pressing, you've got to then fizz it up to Mateta and get bodies around him, and 30 seconds later they do that and they score. So without being too regressive about this, all these they're all there. It's just that which ones are the most useful.
And if you don't have to match up your opponent's tactics, do you? I think that's where football trends often go, that everyone tries to play in the same way. And as Sean Dyche alludes to there, actually, sometimes you can have an antidote to what's in front of you and play in that different way.
John Terry said this, that at Chelsea, they you play out from the back, and he was very good at doing that as a defender, often overlooked in his ability for doing that with a general football fan. And he said, but if there were players right up on the edge of our box who were restricting us doing that, well, you stick it on Drogba's chest. Do you know what I mean? Like Petr can distribute. There are many ways.
Most of the game is getting the ball into space. Right?
Well, exactly, Jim. Exactly. So where is the space? And when teams press, which you would imagine that they wouldn't be able to do at the World Cup next summer due to the weather and so on. And the demands of it. How are you going to find the space, and how are you going to, what are you going to do?
The issue for me is if you become too reliant on that type of game. I feel like we've seen this before when teams have perhaps run out of ideas against better teams. Some defences will relish that. They will just nod those away all day.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So it can't be the entirety of your game. And I mean, so Tuchel has been talking about kind of throw-ins and long balls. He said, I told you, the long throw is back, but we do not have a lot of time. So he's been talking about, these quite sort of old-fashioned, very sort of, in air quotes, English tactics. And I just feel like all we've wanted as England fans for a long time is just for our attacking players to express themselves a bit more, just a bit more. Use that attacking talent. And I'm actually quite grateful that Thomas Tuchel is telling us now we ain't getting that. We're not having that. Just don't worry about it. I mean, get your hopes down, if anything.
I mean, that is the headline, isn't it? That he's sort of talking about turning them into like Stoke of the noughties. And I mean, it is a perfect way to beat an offside trap because you can't be offside. So I understand why that's kind of being brought back in. Arsenal are getting a lot of joy out of dead ball situations and stuff. But if a team sets up with such a regressive line, you're not going to get behind them anyway. So there's not really much point in sort of talking about long throws because they're of absolute no use to you.
And it also just bypasses all your creative players. It's really...
Well, but I mean, he was saying that there's lots of areas. I mean, Southgate in 2018 World Cup, obviously the different situation. You have England, that was the only time that there was zero expectation, genuinely. Made a lot of the set pieces and set piece routines, didn't they? They practiced corners and so on and so forth. I mean, I think with Tuchel, I think England, as England fans, you're wanting that kind of, right, what's the identity, what's the kind of plan, what's the way of playing? Because for so many years, you'd have one manager come in and it would be like this, and another manager, and you get to the tournament and it would be that sort of general kind of sort of defensiveness that certainly was in the last Euros.
Or the caution, really.
Yeah, which I would say was rather out of necessity with Southgate, although I think they could have done a bit more. But anyway, it's in the past now. And with Tuchel, you're thinking, okay, well, and you're trying to figure it out. But I suppose the argument against that is we're only 4 games in, and we've played 4 inferior sides. Okay, Albania are better than, say, a Latvia or Andorra. But these are not the games England are truly going to be judged on. And the games they're going to be judged on are the games we assume they're going to qualify for the World Cup. I mean, we judge them much more against Serbia away tomorrow night, for example. But it is all about, right, how do you get the best out of the attacking talent, as you say, Jim? And so far, it's been a little bit flat. Mm-hmm. And I just think we want that little bit more, Vish.
Yeah, but
then perhaps, but then, as you said at the start, Scotland fans, other fans just be like, oh, shut up, lads, it's only 4 games and you've not conceded a goal.
Yeah, and there's also the thing of like, Tuchel's come in and tried to look at what the current identity of English football is, and he's obviously looked at the Premier League, because actually, on the subject of throw-ins, if you look at the Premier League last season, there were more long throws. Sorry, it was a highest percentage of long throws last season since the 2018-19 season. So maybe he's just looking at that and seeing how a lot of these players are playing week to week and thinking, right, we can probably do that.
Yeah.
What is Dan? I'm not saying Dan Burn's going to start at centre back, but there's clearly like Dan Burn plays as he does for Newcastle, and Thomas Tuchel hasn't asked him to do anything particularly different. If you look at someone like Madueke basically goes and does his little mazy runs and stuff like that. No one is really doing anything off the cuff, because no one actually does. None of the players who are on the field on Saturday for that Andorra game are particularly off the cuff players.
Is there?
Yeah, it's
not really off the cuff, actually. I think he's like, he gets the ball and like does what he needs to do, but he's not someone who kind of like, he will play through balls because it's his job to play through balls. You know what I'm saying? Whereas someone like, I don't know, if you think of someone
Cole
like
Palmer, maybe, or
Cole Palmer,
Jack Bellingham,
Jack Grealish back in the day.
yeah, but like Foden is quite. I know, appreciate we haven't seen much of him at his very best, but even Foden at his very best is actually quite cookie
Rigid.
cutter in his brilliance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Ezra as much of the same. He just does it with a bit more panache, I suppose. But yeah, like, the long throw thing, the fact that everything's quite regimented, he probably sees that as quite literally where the trends are going at the moment, and it's kind of essentially all he needs to care about in this cycle.
Do you think trends matter that much, though?
I think in terms of what players are used to, because it means he has to do less on the training field, and it's less kind of, I suppose, there are fewer mixed messages for players who are just grooved into this week in, week out.
Well, England will be playing Serbia tomorrow night, of course. They beat Latvia 1-0 on Saturday. Dusan Vlahovic scored the only goal quite late on. Alexander Mitrovic came off the bench. A warning for England, the attacking talent that Serbia have. And if we're going to cross the ball, they're bloody well going to cross the ball as well, aren't they? To make sure our crosses are better than theirs. Now, Wayne Rooney revealed last week that at his first England camp, the FA put pictures of England legends in every room the players were staying in. Rooney's had a big old picture of Kevin Keegan. As a proud Evertonian, Rooney immediately asked them to take it down.
I mean,
bearing in mind he was about 17. The gall of it. I'm not having this.
Is that the real reason?
Yeah.
Or is it that feels cursed?
Yeah. It's bad luck in it, yeah.
They replaced it with a picture of Rooney himself. All right, yeah, you're already
There we go,
legend.
yeah,
There
nice.
you go.
You say that like in the way that, some hotels don't have a 13th floor
Yeah. Yep.
or a room 101.
Exactly, yeah.
Right,
Maybe that's it. All right, coming up after this, a sinkhole opens in the middle of a World Cup qualifier. Was Kevin Keegan there?
This episode is sponsored by Etsy, where you can discover original items from small shops. If you're into football merchandise, we're talking vintage kits, personalised scarves, or even artwork of your club's best moments, well, Etsy's got loads of original items that you're going to love that don't feel mass-produced or generic, stuff that everyone has. Etsy has way more than just football finds, though. Etsy is a marketplace of small businesses with real people behind the shops that sell everything from handcrafted furniture to hand-picked light fixings to vintage clothing and personalised accessories. Shop the Etsy app. Special starts on Etsy.
In the main, it's easier to defend than it is to create, isn't it? Explain that, please, because I don't know about that.
It's easier to spoil in many ways than to create, isn't it? You asked me to build this house, I wouldn't be able to do it. But give me a few weeks, I'll be able to knock it down.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. Michael Owen on why defenders shouldn't win the Ballon d'Or.
It's the best thing he's ever said.
Yeah,
and I
it's
totally
genuinely
agree.
funny.
Is he getting better?
I think he might be.
I think he might be getting better.
Has he started watching films?
I don't know. Yeah.
Really getting into Wes Anderson. It's like, this is fancy.
Thanks to friend of the Ramble, John W64, for sending us that clip on Discord. You can become a friend of the Ramble too for just $5 a month. Just head to patreon.com/football ramble to get involved. Good. Nice to see. I love the fact that he would say, "Give me a couple of weeks for the house." Surely, just get yourself a wrecking ball, son. You do that in an afternoon. Wouldn't you?
But that's what I like about it, though. He's going to take his time on it.
Yeah, first
Really learn how to do it.
First, I'll do the china. Then I'll do then I'll break the toilet seat.
Yeah, he's
And
going to
I'll
be
just go
methodical about
okay,
it.
right.
He's not just going to use the house collapsing to smash everything in it. He's going to just do everything.
In the video clip as well, when he says that, it's great.
Fernand's not having it.
Because as he's saying, give me a couple of weeks, he's looking around the room they're in. It's okay, take a couple of days. And
Are they steel beams?
To be fair, I said that. I said the old studio would go down in about 2 hours. It took me about 2 days to tear it down. So,
Yeah.
It's a very sort of monkey tennis, Alan Partridge style suggestion, isn't it? Demolition with Michael Owen. I would watch it.
Well, Jim, a lot of people watched Denmark 0, Scotland 0. No goals in that one. But
Both houses still standing.
Yeah, indeed, yes. A good point for Scotland, though. They started their World Cup qualification campaign with their trickiest tie on paper away in Copenhagen. Lyndon Dykes and Chadham's both started up top, so there was a bit of attacking intent from old Stevie Clarke. But
in that they had forward players on the field.
well, two of them.
Yeah.
The Craig Levine days are gone.
Yeah. It was a real statement of intent, this, from Steve Clarke.
After the match, Clarke did say we have to keep our feet on the ground. Where do you think our feet are, Stephen?
yeah.
They are very much on the ground.
We cannot get carried away with this.
Yeah, if not in a sinkhole, we'll be talking about in about 5 minutes.
Well, Steve,
People can't get used to two strikers on the field at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, he was very happy, Steve Clarke said. It's good to start the group. We've got to approach every game with the same humility and make sure we pick up as many points as we can. It's always the same. Then we'll tally it up and see if that's enough.
I love that. I love the idea that no one's got access to the table until the end of the qualification. Is it 3 points for a win? Don't know. Hope so.
How did Denmark
Did we get one for this?
How did Denmark go to the next game? Nobody knows. At the end, we all meet, we'll tally up like we've been playing some kids' board game.
Get the boffins on it.
Yeah.
Count how many have you got? Yeah.
Steve, have you tallied them up? No, I haven't yet. No, I was going to wait till the end.
News has
It's
reached
easier.
us from the northern lands.
Yeah, it's nearly June and the World Cup's kicking off in a couple of weeks. Steve, tally them up.
The thing about those two up front as well, though, they obviously Steve Clarke, very conservative. They weren't play. He wasn't playing four at the back and two up front to put one on Denmark, and it was very much kind of from a defensive point of view, like having two people to press further forward. But they had their chances.
Yeah.
I mean, Lyndon Dykes had one where he let it run across him when he could have. If he takes the ball in with his right foot on about the hour mark, he basically has a free shot on goal, and he doesn't take it partly because he's Lyndon Dykes. But apart from that, like they were fairly impressive. A couple of the chances that Denmark had would have been ruled out for offside anyway. I thought, Ryan Christie, we spoke about him briefly on Friday, but he was excellent. And as ever, they've just got to build on it because there've been a lot of like false moments within these qualifying campaigns for Scotland previously when they hadn't broken into competitions. But this was broadly quite a promising result, not least because they've scuppered Denmark.
I think it's a perfectly good result. And look, let's say if England were in the same group as Denmark and went away to Copenhagen and they drew.
Oh, we'd be bitching about this, wouldn't we?
You might a little bit, but I think that wouldn't be
They'd be
disaster.
tearing the house down in under 2 weeks.
But I think, okay, fine. I regret mentioning England in this context. Sorry, Scotland. I think it's a good result. But
Scotland fans would love that. Look, if we had it, we'd be well impressed with this.
I feel like it's another 0-0 victory for Scotland, like that one against England at the Euros that time. But look, Steve Clarke is right. They need to keep their feet on the ground. Now, Belarus in the group got gubbed 5-1 by Greece in the other game in Group C. Scotland play Belarus tonight. The gauntlet is genuinely laid down because goal difference could be a thing, here, as it often is in these groups. So
Greece,
go out and hammer them.
Greece have got some really good attacking talent.
Well, we mentioned this, didn't we, on Friday, actually. They look a decent side, obviously won at Wembley in the Nations League. And even when England won their 3-0, Pickford makes a good. It wasn't a classic 3-0 job, if you see what I mean. So, these are the. I mean, Scotland fans won't like me saying this, but these are the games you've got to win against Belarus. You've got to put those games away, and because otherwise, if you don't, then as I say, you've got two.
You don't have as many points when they tally it all up.
Well, exactly.
We don't know exactly what
when
the
you
point
extract
situation
all of
is.
the beans you put in that jar
Yeah,
to point to your wins.
You don't want to affect your tally at the end of it.
We got an email from Andrew. We're just getting in touch regarding Jim's ludicrous claim that Steve Clarke was approaching the record for most games in charge of the Scottish national team. Clarke has only managed 69 matches, where the Scottish Legend Selection Committee managed 231 matches between 1872 and 1953, and a further 23 matches between 1954 and 1957. I imagine Jim will issue a swift retraction and apology for disrespecting Scotland's greatest ever coach, Selection Committee.
Yeah, you know what? I've been a fool here, haven't I? I haven't thought about this. I would like to
Selection Committee.
I would like to apologise to the proud nation of Scotland, my own granddad, wee Dougs, and just the whole thing. And
From all form.
The great thing
What
about
about the committee family as well?
the
Drag
committee
selection's
family,
name through the
well,
mud?
the great thing about selection committee is that they are essentially immortal and can be reconvened at any time. So perhaps this is something that they could consider when Steve Clarke is no longer around.
The Big Titty Committee?
Doing his tally.
Those guys
Sure.
from that song.
Say
Sure.
sorry to the Big Titty Committee.
Yeah,
Say sorry to the Big Titty Committee, please.
I apologise to the Big Titty Committee.
Can we stop saying titty? Is that a thing?
You just added to it. I'm ready to move on to Germany,
Let's
Northern
move on.
Ireland. So yes, well done to Jim for apologising there. Now, Germany 3, Northern Ireland 1. For a while, I thought it could be a famous point here for Northern Ireland. They had them going for a bit, and then Germany got a quick-fire double in the second half. How satisfying was Price's volley for Northern Ireland? Oh, it was a gorgeous goal, Vish.
It was, especially like given the time of it as well. Bit before half time, Germany are clearly in such a weird space that there is a lot of talk. We think we're bad about talking about styles and how we want the team to play. They're going through the ringer. Obviously, they're going to do annoying stuff at the World Cup. It doesn't matter. But at this point in time, it is very enjoyable.
Well, I mean, obviously they lost their opening game to Slovakia 2-0. So when it's 1-1, and you're well into the second half, you could hear the panic around the stadium, and it was a great shame that Peacock Farrell misjudges that cross, because really it does go down as a goalkeeper error, and Amiri taps in Jim, but it was a sickener because after that it calmed everybody down.
Yeah.
Whereas you keep them going, there's just over 20 minutes left. Germany weren't really creating. And then that little error happens.
Yeah, and then it's game over, essentially, from that point, isn't it? You've got a mountain to climb after that. And it's a real shame, especially in a 4-team group.
Yeah.
It feels like you make any sort of headway, and you've got a really, really good chance in there.
I know, yeah. And then Wirtz kind of curls a free kick in, and you kind of go, yeah, that's it. And it's like the whole Germany's campaign is lift off. Whereas before that, they did have them going for a bit. I mean, when you say that they'll do something at the World Cup, I mean, of course, you may well be right, but...
Oh, no, I was being totally flippant. I was basically covering myself if we clip this up for a few months' time.
Okay.
I don't believe a thing.
Right.
What I just said. But it was more...
Because they're not in great shakes, Germany. They haven't been for a while.
They're in a really bad way.
And oddly so, because they haven't really done anything... Well, they haven't done it. Obviously, they won it in 2014 for crying out rugby.
A long time ago now, though.
But it does feel like a long time ago. And since then, in tournaments, I mean, I know in the Euros they've reached the knockouts.
Well, because they've lost a couple of World Cup finals as well, haven't they?
They have. Well, Germany have, but the one you're thinking of is actually West Germany.
Right.
I see. Yeah.
And I watched Bridge of Spies the other night as well. I should have remembered.
By the way, that's a great film.
It's a brilliant
It's a
film.
good
Really
film.
good film. Everybody, you should watch that after Serbia-England tomorrow night.
Get in touch and let us know how you get on with that double header.
Oh dear. So Germany's campaign is up and running. Now Portugal played their first international since the death of Diogo Jota and Andre Silva. Jota was of course part of the side that won the Nations League. They beat Armenia 5-0. Cristiano Ronaldo scored a brace. Of course he did. The man just keeps on going. But so it was good for Portugal, of course.
His second goal in particular was
Absolutely
was
lashed,
excellent.
wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He's chasing that record 6th World Cup appearance.
You'll get it.
Messi would also be playing in his sixth, but he's not sure if he's going to play or not.
It would be
I'll play if you play.
fantastic if Portugal and Argentina played each other and
Jim,
both were present.
What would be amusing if Portugal didn't qualify, Argentina do, and Messi goes, "Oh, go on then, I'll play," and then Ronaldo's got to wait another. And of course, the next World Cup would be partly in his home nation, Portugal, Spain, and Morocco.
Will Ronaldo be sort of like
Too old for it? He'll decide.
Yeah, we'll find out, won't we? 3/4 of the way through his season, would he be? Because he's sort
in
of
Saudi?
in Saudi. And will he be in? Will he just be downing tools?
Well, Messi
mid-season
will be.
or-
Messi would be doing it mid-season, of course, for MLS.
Good point, actually. Yeah.
Which it's all to play for. Over in Group H, Austria's qualifier with Cyprus was delayed after a sinkhole opened up on the pitch in Linz during the second half, which is absolutely terrifying.
It really is.
Not the first time a sinkhole has appeared in the pitch during an Austria fixture. The same thing happened in the centre circle of a different pitch in Vienna in 2022, shortly after a Nations League game against Denmark, although I think that one was Bain's fault, whereas this one, I'm not sure. Ralph Rangnick said, in the end, what matters is we got the 3 points.
Yeah. And 7 broken ankles.
Yeah, we lost the referee and a couple of players. They're still down there.
That whole stadium's gone now. But
Is there anything more frightening than the sinkhole? I don't think there is really.
Yeah,
It is
it's up there, isn't it?
terrifying,
Yeah, I find any, that caving sort of meme where that man is like upside down in a cave hole.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
It makes me,
Yeah.
I can't stop thinking about it. And I hope you at home are also thinking about
Well,
it.
I've never seen it, so up yours.
Imagine a man upside down
No, I'm not gonna-
in a tube, a
He's
cave
perfectly
tube.
upright, happy with his family in my head.
He's above ground. He's loving life. Sun on his face.
He's got no. People have got no business being underground.
Who has any business on it? No
No,
Londoners today.
exactly.
Tube
Yeah,
strike.
all overground,
Doing
yeah.
their bit.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You see?
It's the only thing that hasn't happened yet at Old Trafford.
Yes,
That's
give us a
still to
sinkhole,
come.
yeah.
That is definitely still to come. Oh, blimey. Could
Well,
be
we look
worse. Could be worse, though. A pitch in Australia is out of use for a month because a bird has laid an egg on the halfway line.
Weird country, that.
So it's an enormous bird. The egg is going to take at least 150 men
Roll it
to
off.
do it.
The bird is drunk. No one can get near it.
Respect's only one man.
The pitch is in Canberra, and the bird is a, how would you say it, plover?
Plover,
Plover,
maybe,
I reckon.
plover, yeah.
Plover. It's a protected species, so yes, no one can use the pitch until the egg hatches or until it is carefully moved without being damaged.
What's so funny about this is it is right on the centre circle.
Oh,
Yeah,
like the
perfectly
bird
done, yeah.
knows.
Yes.
It really looks deliberate, doesn't it?
It does. Well, the process can take days. It could easily take a month, apparently. Easily. So the police now come to check the nest every day.
It's one bird.
Yeah.
Just throw it. Just throw the egg.
Sounds like-
Crime rates are so low in Canberra that the
Throw
police
the
can check
fucking
on nests.
that is at least that is Australian policing to a T.
Yeah.
They're the biggest busybodies in the world.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Sounds like you've had
Absolute
an
shambles.
experience with the
No,
young.
but they're just
Yes.
like they go out of their way to make you feel uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. They are.
Even
They
if you're a
are
plover.
some of the worst, and I look forward to meeting them again in a couple of months.
I was going to say. I had no idea.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
The worst.
Oh dear. Right. Well, coming up after this, Andre Onana looks like he's leaving Manchester United, but another goalkeeper is about to overshadow him. Gentlemen, I want to go to the US of A, where the US, Pochettino's United States of America, of course, lost 2-0 to South Korea on Saturday night. They're going to be one of the hosts, the main host, you could argue, in terms of venues for next summer's World Cup. And asked if it was time to start turning his work with the national team into results, Pochettino said, "We need to start to win when the World Cup starts." Man, very comfortable in his position.
Yeah.
Thomas Tuchel stopped short of saying that, really, because you do need results in qualifying campaign, of course.
For the tally, for one thing.
For the tally, exactly. But Pochettino doesn't have to worry about a tally.
Poch needs qualifiers.
He
He just needs any kind of competitive football at this moment in time. Good God.
We'll do it on the night. We'll do it on the night is a hell of a thing for a national team manager to say.
Trust
Fuck
me.
it, we'll do it live. That's basically it, isn't it?
Basically what he's doing. Just trust me, it's going to be fine.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that World Cup dad on Instagram? Who
No.
basically he's like 34 and
Upside
he's
down in a cave?
and he's never played a game of football in his life, never played soccer before, and in a stunning bit of Dunning-Kruger twattery decided that he's going to try and play in the World Cup, but he's never kicked a football in his life.
Yes.
And so he's worked really hard for the last couple of years to get up to speed.
The people falling over to like promote him are pathetic. Like some genuine big names who are like, I fully back you to be the national team striker for USA World Cup.
So hang on. So he's legitimately trying to break into Mauricio Pochettino's national team.
Well, he's had a look at
pretty
them,
much,
Jim,
yeah.
at the age of 34, never had played the game before. He's thinking, you know what, there's a slight chance here. I mean, there was a few comments about us saying, could we have warmed the bench for San Marino or something like that?
I think you're all being very silly, actually.
Indeed, you expressed that opinion, Peter. And of course, we were being a little bit silly.
Sorry, look, can we also just address that head on now?
Yes.
Why were people taking that seriously?
I think people had
The hell is up with people?
People have never listened before. But this guy is just, maybe he heard us the other day and he's just ran with it.
He just ran with it,
Yeah, and he's going, I'm going to get
all of his footage is him just doing like rainbow flicks. And
Yeah,
stuff.
also, just to use
Is
your
he
words
any
there,
good?
he literally can't run properly.
Yeah, that is a problem. Do you remember when I think on Ramble Uncut once, we for a few weeks talked about which, if you were given, say, I don't know, a year or two or whatever, a period of time,
Where could you get to in the pyramid?
No.
Right.
In the Olympics, which Olympic sport you're given all the training facilities, you're given the best trainer. Which sport, generally speaking, not you specific, well, maybe you specific, but generally speaking, which of the events do you think you could have the best go at the Olympics? If you see what I mean, given everything. I can't remember what we decided. Quite clearly, whatever you're going to do, you're going to finish, bottom of the pile, sort of thing. But this guy's taken this to another level, because with that Olympic one, you're thinking, what about shooting? Do I need to have done shooting all my life to suddenly, kind of thing, or whatever it is? Football is like, to me, of all the sports, you get some guys, you get when they get into maybe their 30s or whatever, they go, I've done with football, maybe I'll give rugby a go. Very few people say that, but I know one or two that have,
right?
Or maybe one other sports. Like football to me is like up there.
There's so many skills within it.
If you have not played
I
football
think-
at school level, there's no way you're playing a
think
decent
football, pound for pound, is the most technically difficult sport. Way more than basketball, for example.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, you have to turn your feet into hands.
Yeah,
Essentially.
That's essentially the sport. And then also get fit enough to do everything else.
Yeah.
Stuff,
I mean, running alone is painful and awful. But
You're starting at a very low level.
I am, yeah. But when you're playing football, you've got jobs as well.
Yeah.
You've got jobs to do with your feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start playing a bit of over 50s football. You get a bit more time on the ball, I'll tell you what.
Lying about your age.
You are?
Lying about-
Well, not by 5 years. You're 45.
You just said over 50s.
Yeah, but you're allowed a couple of 45-year-old ringers.
Young
Is that
bucks.
right?
A couple of young
Is it
bucks,
like the under 23 Olympic?
And I'm not good enough for them to.
You the
notice
James
that I'm
Milner
not
of
even
the side.
45
Well,
yet.
the opposite of the James Milner.
No, but he played for a little while after, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, because Pete would be the younger one.
Yes.
Young buck.
Well, we wish this guy all the best.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
No,
Fuck
we
him.
do. It'd
We
be
think-
hilarious
No,
if he made it and proved us all
no.
wrong.
I hope he scandalises his own children. Because the whole thing was like him sort of saying
Peter,
that
I think
I want my children to know that there's no limit. There is limits.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you can
That
learn.
is a great point, yeah.
Well, let's see if he proves us all wrong. I'm cheering you on, big guy.
We're wishing you the great American nightmare. You may already be living in it.
Well, speaking of which, did you see that former US and South Korea boss Jurgen Klinsmann was in the stands to watch the game because his son Jonathan Klinsmann was named in the USA squad for the first time?
Is it more than he did when he was actually managing them?
Yeah.
Who's that guy? That's Jurgen Klinsmann. Oh.
His games are literally on TV.
He can get here.
Yeah, he's literally on TV. If you want to do it remotely, you could.
Yeah. I know. Nice to see, though.
It is nice to
Klinsmann
see.
back in the international scene.
I feel like we've seen him a lot, haven't we?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about
not sure
Jonathan.
it is that nice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Let's talk about something that you might have a moan about. Let's go to Manchester United. Andre Onana has reportedly agreed to join Trabzonspor on loan. Galatasaray were in for him, but they signed somebody else, the Turkey's number one. There's a thought, though, that there is no obligation to buy Onana after this loan deal, but the defeat against Grimsby Town could be the final game of his Manchester United career. Bearing in mind that the final game of his Inter career was the Champions League final.
Yeah.
Well, it probably won't be because there will be a post-season tour between the end of this season
Yes.
and the World Cup.
Shop
Where he'll-
window.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, based on how he performed in that shootout, that it is a fitting final appearance for anyone's goalkeeping career.
I'm trying to. He played for Ajax. Andre Onana did really well there. Won league titles. He gets his move to Inter, and again, was unlucky not to do something in that final with the Lukaku missed chances and so on. So part of that gets his move to Manchester United, huge money, and like now we're just a bit like, off you go alone. Grimsby Town defeats your last game. This is what your team that you support does to people, Vish.
Yeah, and like,
are you going to apologise to Andre?
To be like mildly serious here, but yeah, like there are a lot of players who have left Manchester United this window. I appreciate this is slightly outside the window because it's Turkey, but who will think, God, I just poured 2 years into that fucking sinkhole.
Yeah, well, but yeah, okay. So turning it slightly seriously, like I genuinely feel sorry for the guy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I understand.
How could you not?
I understand. People will say, "Well, hang on a minute. He didn't save those shots and he made those mistakes." Fine. Obviously, he's the one performing. So there's only so much that you can put on the manager and so much you can put on the owners and how the club's run, etc., etc. However, he is one of many. So that's why the onus is, or the attention with this sort of stuff, I think, does reflect very badly on the club, because when they signed him, I remember thinking, "Oof, that is a good sign," and he's a quality goalkeeper. He didn't play for Cameroon because of like the style of play, like it didn't fit with his kind of football philosophy almost, and all this kind of stuff. That's how good he was, or his opinion on the game. Obviously quite a lofty opinion, you might say. If it's almost sort of Roy Keane-esque at times, and now. Yeah, okay, Trabzonspor, Turkish league's not a terrible league, but this is not what he would have envisioned at all.
No, absolutely not. You just wonder where it goes from him from here, because he has to rebuild his reputation, doesn't he? And as you mentioned, he had a very, very high reputation. The idea was he was going to come in and transform the way United kind of played at the back, and it seems that never really clicked. He was never really trusted by his manager, possibly by his defenders as well, and it's quite a kind of you find yourself at a crossroads, really, don't you?
Yeah,
and it feels early for him to be going to Turkey, but
if that's an option,
so he's a shop window.
Well, if he needs to get out there, which what you wouldn't want to go there. This is the mad thing. I know that they've still got the pulling power, and Bumo and Cunha being obvious ones going there, but he's just a bit like, yeah, fine. I mean, obviously the club and Trabzonspor did a deal that basically went, right, Andre, are you going to take that or not?
Well, part of this is bigger than Man United, though, isn't it? It's the wages that Premier League clubs pay their players. It gives them fewer and fewer landing spots if they want to go elsewhere.
But I mean, I just wonder if Manchester United is one of those destinations soon enough where your contract finishes or whatever, or you do a deal where they pay up the rest of your contract in your move, and you go, right, well, I earned 300 grand a week there, lovely old job, I can't believe I got that much, and then I'll go back to Serie A, or I'll go to another decent league for a decent team, and maybe I'll earn 200 grand a week or something. I know it's vast sums for us, but
so you're saying it's almost a bit like
going to Saudi, Jim. That's what Man United is.
So you're saying it's now like some footballers might be looking at a move to Man United almost like a sort of clinical trial. It's like, I'll go there for a bit, I'll get injected with all this God knows what, I'll be okay or I won't, and then at the end I'll have loads of money.
Yeah, a bit like that. It does feel like that.
I just get the sense that the Premier League and Man United just cannot, in the words of Tommy Lee Jones to Jim Carrey, cannot sanction the buffoonery. They just cannot allow a bit of fun.
Was that from Batman Forever?
I believe it was,
I think so, yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's the only film I can think of the two of them.
What a line to remember from that film.
Was he not Harvey Two-Face?
It wasn't in the film.
No, I thought it was something that he said to him in real life.
Yeah, he basically hated Jim
Oh.
Carrey for being an idiot. And he said in a restaurant, I cannot sanction your buffoonery. And they never became
And then
friends.
Schwarzenegger said, "Nice to meet you."
and then
Cannot sanction your buffoonery. So
did he have a change of heart? The Two-Faced so and so.
Yeah.
Now, Peter
Hasn't watched Harry Potter, but he's watched that.
Sorry,
I haven't watched Harry Potter, but you've watched that.
well, obviously.
Yeah. It's a phenomenon, though, isn't it?
What, Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Batman's small fry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, on Friday, the National League Southside Dorking Wanderers, a good Surrey team, signed a 54-year-old fan called Terry Dunn. It was a done deal, on a short-term emergency contract after their first-choice goalkeeper ruptured his spleen. Oof. So they've turned to Terry Dunn. Is that the kind of nonsense and buffoonery that we sanction?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like this league does sanction it briefly, but then they didn't in the end, did they?
Well, the club said that they intended him to play in their match against AFC Tottenham on Saturday because they couldn't find a more suitable replacement. In the end, they were able to sign another goalkeeper on an emergency loan from Barnet.
Funny how that works, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Terry was still part of the squad, though. When he got his call up, though, he said, playing in goal is like riding a bike. You never forget it. The last time he played was in 1997.
Is this where this American guy's getting all these
Must be.
ideas?
Yeah.
It
Exactly.
absolutely must be. Well, staying with goalkeepers and nonsense, there is a goalkeeper putting old Terry Dunn to shame in Italy. Former Fiorentina and Perugia keeper Lamberto Boranga is training to make his return to football at the age of 82.
What are we doing?
Yeah, I've seen the footage of him. He can get down, certainly, but you're going to score your rebounds because he ain't getting back up again.
I mean, I'm suitably impressed with that on a sort of a general level.
I know, yeah.
But in the specifics, Peter, you can't be having that. He signed a contract with 7th tier side Trevi and plans to play one game in October. I mean, 7th tier. That's way higher than the vast majority of people.
tier.
Yeah,
tier.
but he only stopped playing back in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, it is quite phenomenal, the shape that the guy's in. He's never stopped kind of, keeping himself in good shape and stuff. He's also a doctor, I think.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Has anybody checked on Dickie Borthwick? Do you remember him?
Is he the referee or was he the...
No, he was the winger who played out in the West Country.
Oh, that's right. The oldest winger in town, yeah.
That's right, yeah. No, he wasn't a winger, but that was the headline. The
Right,
oldest
yeah.
winger in town.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I think
yeah,
he was a central midfielder or something. And he was, I think,
his
as I'm now
60s?
doing the maths, I think he was in his 70s, but this was
Right.
a little while ago.
Get him running around that garden for charity. Come on. Let's build us a
But
Ramble
by the
spa.
way, he wasn't playing in the 7th team. He was nowhere near the
No,
pyramid.
no.
We should stress.
Well, King Kazoo's still, I think, 5th tier or something, isn't he? I think
Yeah,
he's
but I
sort
mean,
of floating around.
Obviously, that's incredible, but he has been a professional footballer for many years.
That's true. He wasn't international, I guess.
So yeah, obviously he's diminishing talent, but still there was,
There's something in there.
talent there. Well, when the 82-year-old goalkeeper in Italy was asked about the secret to his longevity, he said, "A little food, but the right ones. No alcohol, no smoking, very little meat, only soya milk and physical activity, including sex, a large and balanced breakfast, a chocolate bar, an energy bar for lunch, and a light dinner. After meals, always a walk."
So he's definitely having sex after dinner and in the morning if he's having a small dinner
Yeah.
and then a big breakfast.
Yeah, a large and balanced breakfast. He's having a fry up. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, he's done it.
Exactly, yeah. What a man.